Hi everyone, in this bonus tutorial I'm going to show you how to take the child pages macro and turn it into something a bit more useful and a bit more scalable for more advanced use cases. This is going to allow us to create a report on the top page and actually show data from the child pages from that metadata table that we created before. So let's take a look. So as you can see, I've got my RFCs page that we created in part 1 of the series, where I can create a new RFC using a template, and I can also see my other RFCs here. And if we go onto one of these RFCs, we can see we've got this nice metadata section at the top. And we've actually got this at the top of all of these pages here, you can see. So wouldn't it be great if we could show this information on the top level page so that we could get a really quick summary of the status of all of our RFCs all at once? I'm going to show you how to do that now. So what we want to do, we're going to go onto this child page and we're going to edit it, and we're going to go to the top and we're going to type /properties, and we're going to choose that page properties option at the top there. And next, what we're going to do is take that table we created earlier and drag it into that section there. And what you'll see when we save this page is that you won't notice any difference from how it looks, but actually this has been wrapped in that page properties macro. What that's going to let us do is something really cool, which is show that data all on the RFCs page. So what we want to do up here on the RFCs page is we're going to replace this child pages macro, and we're going to replace it with a properties report macro here. And the tip with this one is you want to add a label to all of these pages. And if you use those templates that I showed you with the button, you can actually set that up automatically. So we're going to create a label called RFC, and I'm going to save that. And we're going to come back to this page and have a look at putting actual data in here. First of all, if I jump onto these pages, and what I'd like to do is just add a label, call it RFC. And we can add this automatically, as I said, later. But for now, I'd like to set the RFC label across these pages, like so. And then if we jump back to the RFCs page and we refresh, you should see that now it's actually pulled in this data from the pages underneath. But actually, there's probably a bit too much information here. So for this summary, there's only specific things I'd like to show. So I'd like to name the title, the RFC. And here in the columns to show, I can actually select which columns I'd like to show and when. So what I'd like to show is the status and the close date. And we also want to see the assignee so that we know who's assigned to this. We can then sort this by a particular thing. For now, I don't need to see this. So we're going to click Save and update the page. And as you can see, now not only do we have this button to create a new RFC, but also we can view all the RFCs, their status, their close date, and assignee, all in a table, which can actually be sorted. So it makes life really easy, and it makes it nice to show information about your pages all in one place. And if we change something on the child page, you'll see that it also changes on here. So if we go and change the close date of this, you should see it changes at the top level as well. So we'll change this to the 23rd. We'll go back onto our RFCs page, and you might need to reload the page here. But you'll see now the close date accurately reflects what we set on the page. So it makes this a really nice centralized way of showing data without actually manually adding data to this page. So what about actually setting those labels by default then, so that when someone clicks Create New RFC, it automatically appears here? So let's take a look at the RFC page we created, and let's turn that into a template that we can reuse. So here's my RFC. I can click Edit. And what I'd like to simply do is copy the content of this page, and we're going to put it into a template that we can reuse again and again. So to create a template, we click on the space on the left, and we click to Space Settings. And then in the look and feel, there's a template section. And as you can see, we can click Create a new template. So what I'd like to do here is I'd like to paste in the content that I had here. And potentially I can remove certain data that isn't applicable yet. And just leave enough here so that people can understand what they need to fill in. As you can see, we've got a nice sort of example template here, and we're simply going to call this the RFC template. And if you need to add labels, which you may want to do if you add a page properties macro, so that you want any new pages with this template to have a label, you need to click on the top right, and you need to click Add Labels. And here we can type in the label we'd like to add, and we can add multiple if we'd like. So now you can see here we've got our new template, and we can actually promote this so that it shows up when people create a page. So if you promote something, you'll see that if you click Create Page, and we go to the All Templates, you'll see in the promoted section, we've got our template there. But obviously we are using this page to create our RFCs. So what we want to do is go onto the button that we're using to create. And we want to change the template from one of the built-in templates to actually the one that we created ourselves here. So RFC. Now you'll see how this fits into the whole page properties part, which is how when we create this new RFC, it will create the page in the right place. It will put the label on the page, and that will then automatically show up in this list. So your users don't need to know anything. They don't need to remember how to do things. They simply need to click this Create RFC button. So as you can see, we've clicked that button. This is our new template, and we can fill in these details for the project. Let's call this RFC 5 and click Publish. And you can see that label has been added at the bottom there. And if we go back to the main page, now the RFC number 5 is showing up properly in the list there with all the data correct. So it makes life really easy, and you're simplifying everything for your staff so that they don't need to remember to click on a particular item to find the template. Everything's just all done through this nice button here. So as you can see, using the page properties macro and the page properties report macro, we can really extract useful information and summarize pages at higher level. So in our case, we created a page for RFCs, retrospectives, and meeting notes. And now if I go through these pages, you can see similarly I've created similar page properties for each. So what this means is if we go up to our top level here, what we could do is actually expand this a little bit. So what we could do is change these child pages to be properties reports. And for the first one, this was the meeting notes. And obviously we could show different information here than we might want to show it on the lower page. And I can make this a little bit bigger on both of them. So as you can see, with just a simple amount of rinse and repeating to include these properties reports in our page, we can create a much better homepage for the space that gives all of our team members quick access to everything they need. So the latest RFCs, which meeting notes are most recent, and any retrospectives. And also we've provided easy access for them to jump to see all of them on the page. So I think I've showed you how to use page properties and templates to create a really usable and a really easy and intuitive interface for your staff to use without having to navigate the Confluence menus and everything. Instead, we simply have buttons to create things. We have automatic lists and index pages for our site.